Imagine this. Your private phone calls, text messages, and personal information may not be as secure as you think. A sprawling cyber espionage campaign, allegedly orchestrated by China, has been quietly infiltrating telecommunications networks worldwide for years, right under the noses of governments, businesses, and ordinary citizens. This isn't the plot of a Hollywood thriller. It's a reality that could affect millions of Americans and people across the globe. But here's where it gets alarming. According to a former high-ranking FBI official, most Americans have likely had their data compromised by these sophisticated cyber attacks since at least 2019. The culprits? A group of hackers known as Salt Typhoon, believed to be operating under the direction of the Chinese government. These actors didn't just breach one or two systems. They embedded themselves deep within the infrastructure of major telecommunications companies, gaining access to an unprecedented amount of sensitive information. Last week, the Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency, CISA, issued a stark warning about Salt Typhoon's activities. Described as a deliberate and sustained campaign, the hackers infiltrated routers used by telecom providers to maintain long-term access to vast networks. What makes this particularly chilling is how far-reaching the attack appears to be. It's not just the United States that's been targeted. This operation spans at least 80 countries globally. And this is the part most people miss. While much of the attention has been on high-profile targets like former President Donald Trump and his 2024 running mate JD Vance, whose phones were reportedly hacked last October, the scope of the breach goes far beyond political figures. Brett Leatherman, the assistant director of the FBI's top cyber division, described it as one of the more consequential cyber espionage breaches we've seen in the United States. He emphasized that the infiltration of telecommunications networks allowed the hackers to access not only private communications, but also court-authorized wiretap requests, a level of intrusion that should concern everyone. So how did they pull it off? By targeting companies like Verizon, AT&T, and T-Mobile, the hackers gained entry into the very backbone of global communication systems. Once inside, they burrowed deep, using advanced techniques to remain undetected for years. The stolen data includes everything from call logs and text messages to metadata that can reveal patterns of behavior and movement. As Jennifer Ebank, the former CIA Deputy Director for Digital Innovation, explained, this marks a significant evolution in cyber warfare. A decade ago, concerns centered around China stealing trade secrets and intellectual property. Today, the focus has shifted to patient, state-backed campaigns designed to embed themselves in critical infrastructure. Yet, despite mounting evidence pointing to Chinese involvement, Beijing has denied any connection to Salt Typhoon. Liu Pengyu, a spokesperson for the Chinese embassy in Washington, stated that China firmly opposes all forms of cybercrime and accused the U.S. of failing to provide conclusive and reliable evidence linking the group to the Chinese government. However, a rare joint statement from 24 international agencies directly contradicts this claim, alleging that Chinese-based firms supplying cyber-related products and services to intelligence agencies, including units of the People's Liberation Army and Ministry of State Security, are implicated in the attacks. Senator Mark Warner, the leading Democrat on the Senate Intelligence Committee, didn't mince words when he labeled the Salt Typhoon incident the worst telecom hack in our nation's history, by far. At the time of discovery, investigators identified approximately 150 victims whose phones had been breached, but Warner warned that the true scale could be exponentially larger, potentially affecting millions once you factor in everyone those individuals contacted via texts or calls. This raises a critical question. Were ordinary Americans intentionally targeted, or did their data get swept up inadvertently in a broader assault? Cynthia Kaiser, a former top official in the FBI's cyber division, admitted to the New York Times that it's still unclear. Either way, the implications are staggering. If your personal information was exposed, what does that mean for your privacy and security moving forward? In response to the growing threat, lawmakers such as Warner have called for urgent action. In May, he co-authored a letter urging Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem to reinstate the Cyber Safety Review Board, which was disbanded earlier this year. This board plays a crucial role in helping law enforcement agencies, state and local governments, and businesses defend against ongoing cyber threats. Without it, the U.S. risks being ill-prepared for future attacks. As the debate over cybersecurity intensifies, one thing is certain. The Salt Typhoon breach represents a watershed moment in the battle to protect digital infrastructure. But it also highlights a broader issue. Are we doing enough to safeguard our interconnected world? Do you agree with critics who argue that governments and corporations need to do more? Or do you think the current measures are sufficient? Share your thoughts in the comments below.